Hi everyone, this is Lisa Marie from Artistry by Lisa Marie. Welcome to the studio. Today I'm going to do a little more work on this coloring page. Last time I did the skin tone and the hair with Ohuhu markers and colored pencils. This time, I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to focus on more Ohuhu markers and colored pencils, but I'm going to be working on this dress and those magnificent shoes. So the Ohuhu markers, starting with Barium yellow, by the way, and I will put all the colors in the video description so you don't have to guess. I'll let you know what colors I'm using here. The Ohuhu markers are in the dress, just like in the skin tone last time. They're the underpainting. They're the filler. They're quickly getting me some nice rich color. And then I will go over this with colored pencils. So just quickly, starting with the yellow, and getting my colors laid out. And the nice thing I like anyway with when I do Ohuhu markers and colored pencils is it's very fast when I'm doing things like mandalas and I'm mixing them together. The markers fill in the shapes very quickly, which is super fun. Because I want to get going with my pencils often. I very much like using colored pencils. So it's kind of nice for me being able to quickly get a nice rich color effect with markers. Just getting the yellow in there. I know it's not the brightest yellow, but I like this color yellow. And I did plan my color palette ahead of time, which is another reason why I can go a little bit faster with this right now. If I'm just starting to color a page, usually I don't just jump in. I plan the color palette out ahead of time. Otherwise, you guys would just be sitting there watching me sit in awkward silence as I think about colors. So, for example, I really liked this yellow. I really wanted to use this yellow today and in this design. So I tried to think of colors that would go nicely with this particular yellow. And I knew I wanted purple because yellow and red are opposite each other on the color wheel, which means they are complementary colors. And complementary colors really help each other stand out. That's my chair squeaking. I need a new chair. Really help each other stand out when they're next to each other. When you blend them together, they turn into a brown, mushy goo color. But when they're next to each other, they really help each other pop off the page. But this is also a delicate yellow. It's not overly, bright. So I decided to go with this mauve, which is a bit more of a gentle purple. So not too extreme of a purple, not a very dark purple, not the brightest purple, but still a purple. And next to my yellow in this design, I'm getting some fantastic contrast of two colors that are opposite on the color wheel. And the human eye, or your eye, naturally goes to complementary colors too. If you ever think of Christmas, where you have the red and green, You know, that's a classic example of complementary colors. You know, red and green are complementary. Everyone knows that color combination. When you see it, it really stands out to you. So if you're ever working on a color palette or a design, and you're thinking, oh, I really want, you know, the colors to pop off the page and really stand out, check out the complementary color and see if that'll work. Look at that. And then adding the colored pencils, you know, adds a whole other, you know, level of depth to the image. A bit more wiggle room for playing. All right, and then red vermilion, by the way. So I have two very gentle colors, the yellow and purple. And they're complementary colors, they go well together, they help each other, they hold hands and help each other stand out. But that red, this particular red, does not need anyone to hold its hand. Vermilion does not need an assist. It just stands out. And I love it. Which is another form of contrast. So you have, you know, this softer pastel colors, and now this really rich color next to them. Boom. Look at that red. How could you not look at that red, right? Here we go. And I use the fine tip part of the marker for this, so I can get in some of these smaller areas without being too sloppy, coloring in this design. There's a bit of a balance element when you do this too. You know, balance between the vibrant and the soft pastel. Look at that dress. Helps that she is striking a super fabulous pose. There we go. Gotta get right in this little area. Okay. Up here. I missed a spot. I wanted to do purple. That's okay. We can go back. Hold on. Before I forget, let's get our purple in there. And then the shoes, just gonna get them done now. Don't roll away. Don't roll away. Thank you. These marvelous shoes. I am going to do this with the red. Look at that. Oh man, a little line right there. Shoe strap. Heel. Ooh. Okay. So we have the markers down, the underpainting down. I'm going to put them off to the side just so I don't accidentally bump them and hit them onto the floor, which would be so sad for me. I've done it. And next, I'm going to go with the pencils. These pencils were from the last video where I did the skin tone. Definitely go check that out if you want to look at me doing a dark, rich, lovely skin tone. Now we're just gonna do some quick little bits of color in this dress. I did a dress recently where I actually turned the whole dress into this really fun three-dimensional design. This time I'm gonna do something a little bit different, and I'm just gonna do bits of shading within the design, so not completely transforming it. Just showing another way to do mandala coloring. So I'm starting with a blue. This one is Copenhagen blue. And again, all the colors will be in the video description. And the nice thing about blue with this color palette is it can work with the red and the purple, because red and purple blend very nicely with blue, so I'm not losing those colors. If I mix the blue with the yellow, I'm gonna get green. I don't want green, so I'm not gonna do that. But for the red and the purple, I can get away with this, with the same pencil being used to create a sense of shadow, sense of depth. And also by using the same color blue in the red and the purple, visually it kind of unifies them a little bit. It ties them together by having a similar color within their shadows. The paper that I'm using is Nina Bristol Vellum paper, and I will include a link in the video description. And I use it because it can take my coloring style, which is many different mediums, many layers of color. A thinner paper would not hold up as well to what I'm doing. But this paper does. This paper holds its own, and I'm super proud of it. So I'll put the link in the video description if you want some for yourself. And the markers do bleed through a little bit, even on this heavier paper. It's just the nature of markers. So I put another piece of paper underneath just to catch any leakage, but you know, that just sort of comes with the territory of using markers. And there's many different papers you can use. You can use even heavier paper than this. If you want, you could use a watercolor paper, or there's mixed media paper that you can use. But for what I'm doing today, just having fun coloring, this paper is fairly accessible, affordable, easy to get a hold of, comes already cut in, you know, standard printer size paper. All those good things. If I go with watercolor paper, some watercolor paper, especially the stuff that I really like to use, it's huge. It's really, really big. So then down here in the shoe, I'm just going to add this blue shadow, just like I did up there. So in order to, you know, print coloring pages on the watercolor paper that I like to use, I actually have to cut the paper to size before putting it in the printer. And I don't always want to do that. Okay, so now I've got the blue. Oh, I gotta add some more blue in here too. Almost there. There you go. Blue. Got the blue. Now I'm gonna take Parma Violet. And this is just for the purple. Gonna blend it with the blue. So again, the Ohuhu marker was the underpainting, and now the pencils are gonna go right over all of that. And by having the markers underneath, it requires a lot less layers of color, of pencil color, to get the rich color over top with the pencils. Instead of coloring over white paper, I'm coloring over, you know, tinted paper. Thanks to the markers. And hopefully you can see already, there's a little bit more depth happening in the individual elements of this design, thanks to the colored pencils. Making it visually more interesting. And then I'm just focusing on the purple for just a moment. Oh, I forgot that center part. There's always more. Ooh. Take this, it's blush pink. I'm gonna go right over there. So the purple has a dark, medium, and light element to it. And if you want a sense of volume, that's really all you need to get started. Dark, medium, and light. Very fast and easy. Of course, faster and easier because I planned the color palette ahead of time. So there's that. There's the purple. Now the red. So I have the dark blue as that darker, shadowy element. Now this red, and this red in particular, this is Carmine red. It blends beautifully with that Ohuhu color, this Ohuhu red. So it's going to soften this blue and blend it very nicely into the red that's already on the paper. Bit more of a striking shadow feel, but I like it. Of course, I love dramatic shadows, so I would like the striking shadow feel of it. Then, I'm going to take this same pink, the same blush pink that I used in that purple, and I'm going to use it as the lighter part of the red, which also helps visually unite, tie together the red and the purple, because now we're using the same color for their shadows and their highlights, but because the underpainting is different colors for each, red and purple, they're still going to look different. I'm still going to have some nice variation in the coloring. And doing the same thing again with the dark, medium, and light. Within the element, the different elements of this design, to get them to really stand out. I knew these petals I was going to have to do a little individual strokes of color when I was planning out my palette. There we go. And I want this a little bit smoother over here, so just go back with my medium color, dark, medium, light. This is the medium color. I'm just going back. Getting a little bit smoother transition of colors with another layer of that medium tone. Then we're gonna do the yellow. And the thing with the yellow is, I mean, it's so light. So I'm actually gonna do only 2 tones instead of the dark, medium, and light, which I did with the purple and the red. I'm gonna take this, which is Goldenrod, and that's the darker bit, and I'm pressing down harder and then slowly pulling up. And as I do that, the shadow, the darker areas will be where I'm pressing down harder. And as I'm slowly pulling my hand up or pulling, not doing as much pressure as I color, it naturally gets lighter and it naturally transitions to a lighter look with the lighter yellow underneath. And then just pull up gently, and it lightens the whole thing. So it's actually kind of nice with just two colors, the yellow marker and this Goldenrod pencil. You can get a pretty nice effect. But it helps that it's a lighter color. So, because I have that lighter color, what I'm gonna do is I want some much lighter highlight than that. So I have the two colors, the yellow and the goldenrod. I'm gonna take this white and just quickly add some white highlights. And you can do that with these other colors too if you want to, like right there. If you really want more of a contrast between dark and light, you can do that. See? But I really want it with this yellow. And the goldenrod. So we're going to go quickly, getting all of those. Hello, mole stick. I love my mole stick. It's always there to support me. So then I might look around, and so here's a section I'd really like to be a little bit brighter. Get some nice highlights going on in certain areas. Then we're going to go down to these shoes and focus on the shoes for just a moment. So I already added the dark blue, and I want it out there a little bit more. Really want that out there. And I'm very, very gently putting this on the paper, not pressing hard at all. Then taking my red and going right over that dark blue. These shoes are fabulous, but they're not very large, so there's not a lot of surface area to work with or play with. So I'm limiting the palette to dark, medium, and light, being very straightforward with it, with the color transitions. And then this red, or pink. I just did the red, now is the pink. I cannot speak. Putting that down on the paper. So the shoes have a nice feel or sense of volume. Without requiring too much color. I love this red. Little circles. Then take the white, just like there, up in the dress. White highlight. Go back again, gonna push my shadows a little bit more. Layers do take extra time, of course, but you get such nice, rich colors when you take the time to layer them. All right. That is all I have time for today. I have to go get my kiddos and pick them up from their playgroup. So thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video, and stay creative.